Moving on to the 11 o'clock game on Saturday, we have number 8 Alabama traveling to undefeated and number 14 ranked Missouri. That game is on ABC. Alabama comes in as a 2.5 point favorite currently. I believe they opened up as a 5.5 point favorite, if I'm not mistaken. And according to ESPN, they have a 63% chance to win. Quinn, we're going to sling this one to you first.
Yeah, man. Like, look, I'm very, very excited for this game because there is both teams, when their defense is on the field, is going to be stressed in ways they don't want to be stressed by the opponent's offense. Let's just call it what it is, man. Like, when Hurley's running that football for Missouri, we're talking about a team that, and I get it, their two best games have been South Carolina and Kansas. I know that's going to be the first thing Alabama in the comments they bring up is, oh, who have they played? Okay, they're running for over 200 yards a game, man. I don't care who they're playing. That's crazy good. All right. They are running the ball at an elite level. Best running back in the SEC, hands down there in Missouri. All right. Now, on the other flip side of things, South Carolina was able to stay in the game with Missouri because that secondary in Missouri, out of the weakness of the team. They got a good pass rush to affect Ty Simpson, but if they're not able to get home, I don't trust them in that back end covering this Alabama receiver core. All right. Like, I will say this for Missouri, they are on bye before this game. So they've had a little bit of extra prep time. This is a huge spot, I think, for really both teams. Like if you're Drake, you need that like big resume in season resume game. You still don't really have one. Um, and on the other side of this, with DeBoer, I think a lot of people are now questioning, like, hey, you know, you still got to prove that this going on the road stuff isn't a thing. Just because you went and beat Georgia on the road doesn't really fully prove that. Is your other big road game last season was your road game with LSU. You won that. It's the not big road games that you don't seem to get your team up for. At the end of the day, team that's going to stay on the field, hold the ball, is going to be the team that wins this game. And that's what both teams want to do. They just do it in different ways. I think the team that has their back on the wall that needs this win the most is the Missouri Tigers. And that's why I'm taking Missouri to get the upset over Kalen DeBoer and Alabama. I think Drake is a top end coach, and he's going to prove it this weekend when he beats Alabama and Kalen DeBoer and puts the Tigers in prime playoff position. Sorry, Chase, I had to do it. I know how much you love Eli Drinkwitz, uh, but that's where we sit right now this weekend. I think they get them at the perfect time.
Well, and I'll tell you this, you were kind of the way you were performing that, I was like, "You know what? Maybe I'll show love to both. I won't just show love to one." But Eli Drinkwitz, as if there was a Target, a Publix, a Walmart, and then a Dollar General, and then a Dollar Tree, and you went into that Dollar Tree, you try to find James Franklin, and then you bought him off the shelf for $1.25. He's a poor man's James Franklin that has, for a Missouri Tigers, successful seasons, winning 7, 8 games, maybe a bowl game here and there, but he's not a great coach.
Hold on now. They are a top 3 winning team over the last 3 seasons in conference play.
I'm so, but let's give him a cookie for. I mean, it's like they're a solid team, but it's like I don't. It's like watching a game. It's like, are you ever really scared that that person's going to score? Like, am I ever really scared that Missouri's going to make any noise in the SEC/playoffs? Uh, oh, it's probably going to be a good game. I'll give it to you. I still think it's kind of like the Alabama Vandy one from this past weekend. Couple score win by Alabama, but it wasn't like a Alabama put it away. But Alabama, like, yeah, it was a solid win. It was, oh, Missouri put up a fight. Yeah, sure. But at the end of the day, and I'll still give love to Missouri. I won't hate too much, but the Kansas win has a lot of respect in my book. They were down pretty bad in that game, I think. They were down a couple scores, ended up coming back and winning by a score and a half, almost 11 points. That was pretty remarkable to me. I had a pretty high hopes for Kansas as well, and then beating up South Carolina at home. But you got to look at that. This is their 6th straight home game as well. They've won all their games so far. That's going to be huge for Missouri. But I think Alabama has been walking different since that loss to Florida State. And it's not anything to do with their defense, because their defense really lost them that Florida State game, but the offense has just been moving in such a way that it is just absolutely pumping out yards, scores, and just effectively moving the ball. And Ty Simpson throwing his first interception just this past week, like, that's insane. I think there's like 3 quarterbacks in the nation that went into that weekend without an interception or without a turnover. Like, the kid was moving on all cylinders, has easily moved him up into Heisman consideration. And I think the biggest thing is for Missouri is if they can run the ball. That's how they also lost to Florida State. They allowed Florida State to have 200 plus yards on the ground. A lot of that came from their quarterback, which I don't think Missouri is going to be able to do. But if they can replicate running back by committee, put up 250 yards on the ground against Alabama, then we're getting a lot more nervous if I'm a Crimson Tide fan. But I have more than enough faith in Ty Simpson to pick apart that defensive secondary and to for that offensive line to hold up, and probably Caden Proctor to, I don't know, throw a touchdown pass this weekend. He's going for the trifecta after this week. I don't know what the heck's going on with Caden Proctor. He's probably going to kick a field goal in a couple weeks, but
He should.
Alabama is moving in such a different way right now that they have struck fear in my heart for whoever that they have to play. I'm going with Alabama by 2 scores.
So it's actually funny, Chase, that you bring up James Franklin and discussing Missouri, because James Franklin had Missouri starting quarterback, Pribula.
Did.
And James Franklin chose Drew Aller. Wrong decision. Absolute wrong decision. This brother's balling. That's all I'm going to say. He's got 1,200 yards already. 3 interceptions, 9 touchdowns. But Quinn, you mentioned it, Ahman Hardy, best running back in the SEC that nobody's talking about, by the way, which really upsets me. He's averaging 7 yards a carry. I mean, hello? That's unheard of. And again, I don't care who you play, just like you said. Yes, they're 5-0. I don't care who you play. Averaging 7 yards a carry is unreal.
I'm pretty sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, because it might have changed after this weekend, but Ahman Hardy is first in rushing, and Ahman Hardy yards after contact is second in the SEC in yards, which is crazy.
Yeah. Him and Justice Haynes are the 2 running backs in the country that strike fear into anybody's eyes, or should. And that's what we're getting to in this game. Both of you guys already talked about Alabama and what they've been able to do since the loss to Florida State. They've really kicked it into high gear. Quinn went down the deep dive on the road woes for Kalen DeBoer over the past 2 years. I've got Alabama in this one, and I don't particularly think this one's going to be close. Last year, I don't know if you guys remember, last year, very similar situation, except Missouri was already coming into this game with a loss, I believe, whenever they played Bama in Tuscaloosa, and then Missouri kept losing, and for some reason they were in the top 25. I don't understand that.
I do want to point out in last year's matchup, though, Missouri was on their 3rd-string quarterback. They had 2 receivers out.
That's fine.
Ike was out.
That's fine. That's fine. I don't care. I don't care. Bama's probably going to win this game by 14 plus points. I think it'll be competitive in the first half. And then, because I'm going to say this, Bama looks better conditioned this year. In every fourth quarter I've seen, minus Florida State, that entire game was a little weird. But ever since that game in the fourth quarter, Bama has looked in better condition than any other team that they've played. And I could not tell you the last time I've been able to say that, even dating back to Saban's last 2 or 3 years. They still were not able to finish in the fourth quarter. So this team looks different to me. Bray Hubbard's played amazing on defense. The secondary is stepping up. I still don't understand what we're doing on the defensive side for run stopping, but that's neither here nor there. We're not going to get into that. Bama wins this game and shuts down the Missouri and drink situation this year, and gets a huge win. Which, by the way, 6 home games in a row is ridiculous for Missouri.
That is crazy. That is crazy.
I'll say this: if Bama does blow out Missouri, I don't think it'll be close in the first half. The only way I see that happening is they jump Missouri early and force Missouri away from the run game.
Yes.
You're going to have a hard time selling me that they're just going to naturally, all of a sudden, be good at stopping the run against the best running back in the country.
Yeah, and I think that's the worst part of Alabama's defense is allowing the run to navigate, to happen. And the best running back probably in the nation that isn't being talked about against probably one of the worst run defenses. Definitely in the SEC. It's going to be a rough. That's why I think it's going to be more like the Vandy, but it's going to end up a couple score win.
Yeah. Same situation as you, Chase. I think me and you were on the same page there on this one. But Quinn the Lonesome
Yeah.
guy going Missouri.
Sorry, Quinn.